The night I first saw her, the house was dead quiet except for the faint sound of someone humming. I stopped in the doorway of my 10-year-old son's room, frozen. There he was, my boy Caleb, lying on his bed with his eyes shut tight, breathing slow and easy for the first time in 3 years. And curled up beside him, sitting cross-legged like she'd been there forever, was a girl in a ragged ash-grey dress. Her face was streaked with dirt, her arms wrapped around him like she was guarding him from the world. She glanced up at me, big brown eyes full of confusion, maybe even fear. I just sang for him. That's all, she whispered. I didn't say a word at first. I'd spent years watching Caleb toss and cry through every night while the best doctors, therapists and pills money could buy failed us. And here, this stranger, barefoot and worn down, had done what no one else could. I motioned for her to follow me, careful not to wake him. 3 years of sleepless nights started on his 10th birthday. The specialists kept telling me there was no physical cause, just that he needed someone he felt completely safe with. We tried everyone, family, friends, teachers, nannies. Even I lay beside him night after night, but it was no use. He never truly rested. That morning I decided to take him with me to the office, thinking a change of scenery might help. We were waiting for the gate to open when Caleb suddenly tapped the window. "Dad, who's that?" She was sitting under an overpass across the street trying to block the sun with a torn umbrella. A few coins lay in a chipped bowl at her feet. Her hair was messy, her feet blistered. Caleb stared at her like he could feel her pain from a mile away. "Can we help her? I've donated to charities for years, but this was my son asking." So we crossed the road. "What's your name?" I asked. "Amina," she said quietly. I bought her food, handed her some cash. Then before I could think too much, I said, "You want to come with us? We can help you." She hesitated, but Caleb grabbed her hand. "You can stay in my room." Back at the house, she sat stiff in my office chair, eyes darting between a framed picture of my late wife Evelyn and the Lagos cityscape painting on the wall. I finally asked, "How did you get him to sleep?" "I didn't do anything special. Just sang the lullaby my mother used to sing before they took her." "Before who took her?" I asked. "One night men broke in. I hid under the bed. My parents were gone by morning. I never saw them again." She told me she'd been top of her class once, but hunger had pushed school out of reach. I sat back, fists tight. This wasn't just some random girl. She'd survived things most adults couldn't. Something in me shifted. "From today, you're part of this family," I told her. "You're Caleb's sister now." That night, after she went to bed, I dug through Evelyn's old belongings, things I'd never had the courage to open. In one envelope, her handwriting stopped me cold. "If something ever happens to me and you meet a girl named Amina, protect her like you would Caleb." How did Evelyn know her name? I read on. "Amina is the daughter of my best friend Samira. She once saved my life. I promised I'd help her if I ever found her." I didn't believe in fate until that moment. Weeks passed. Caleb slept like a normal kid again, always asking Amina to sing for him. Then one stormy night he came running into my study. Dad, Amina's crying in her sleep. We rushed to her room. She was twisting in the sheets, whispering, "Mama, don't go." When she woke, she said she'd seen her mother in a cell calling her name. I called an old contact, Detective Olumide, and hired him to investigate. Months later, he found her alive, locked away in a secret prison in Ibadan, held without trial because she'd witnessed something powerful men didn't want exposed. We fought tooth and nail lawyers, threats, bribes, and then one rainy afternoon, a car pulled up to the house. Amina stood on the porch as a thin woman stepped out trembling. "Mama," they ran to each other, collapsing in the rain, crying like they'd never stop. I'd seen a lot in my life, but that moment, that was something else. Amina thrived after that, went back to school, earned a spot in medical college. Years later, she became a doctor known across Lagos for her work in underserved neighborhoods. Somewhere along the way, she met Daniel, a software engineer with a quiet charm, and they fell in love. On her wedding day, the house buzzed with joy until Caleb pulled her aside. "I had another dream," he said. "Your dad, he's still alive." Her smile faded. We all thought her father had died the night of the raid, but she remembered she never saw his body. 3 days later, Olumide laid a blurry photo on my desk. A construction crew in a remote village near Kogi State, and one tall man with the same eyes as Amina. We flew there by chopper, Amina, her husband Caleb and me. The villagers called him Papa Kola, said he'd wandered in years ago, injured with no memory. When she saw him, her voice shook. "Dad." He stared at her confused, then whispered her name. Memories came flooding back, being kidnapped for refusing to sign off on a fake land deal for a powerful man named Senator Felix Adeyemi. The same night her mother was taken by his allies. Back home, we dug through old records. Caleb found encrypted files on my company server, blueprints, payments, and an audio recording from Evelyn herself. Felix used fake permits to steal land. If anything happens to me, find Amina. It was enough to blow the whole thing open. We went public. The press tore into him. Human rights lawyers joined the fight. Felix was arrested. The ghost prison shut down, dozens freed. A year later, Amina stood on a stage, an Abuja gold medal around her neck, telling a crowd, "Justice isn't something you wait for, it's something you rise for." The place erupted. Caleb, now in university, was building an app to protect whistleblowers. Samira and her husband were home safe. And me, I was just grateful for the day. My son asked Dad, "Can we help her?" That night, Amina tucked her baby girl into bed. Caleb, taller now, but still her little brother, leaned in the doorway. "You know, I still can't sleep unless I hear you sing." She laughed, humming that same lullaby, her voice carrying through the halls that once felt so empty. It had all started with a broken boy and a homeless girl with nothing but a song, and ended with a family rebuilt, a nation changed, and a reminder that sometimes the smallest act of kindness can uncover truths powerful enough to shake the highest walls. So, what do you think? Was it fate that brought her under that bridge that day, or just the right people in the right moment? And if you were in my shoes, would you have stopped? Tell me in the comments. I want to hear your truth.